Once upon a time, there was a boy named Clemen. Clemen was a normal kid. He did normal stuff, like play make-believe, watch TV on Saturday mornings, and even sometimes had pillow fights with his girl best friend.
Now, not all things were normal with Clement. Yes, he was an average boy. All his friends at school knew him as Clement, the kid, nothing really exciting in his life, but he got along with everyone and did the best he could to fit in. Though, like all things, if you look a bit closer, you'll see that Clement was a little bit different, and now you'll see how.
Now you know that time when you're outside. It's raining, but it's not so dark that you can't see, but it's also not so light that you feel safe. Most people want to go inside their house, turn on a TV show, get all cozy. Well, Clemen likes to be outside during that time. He likes to take long, long walks. And you might think, oh, well, this isn't a big deal. And at first it wasn't. But once you take a closer look in what Clemen sees and what he does at this time of day and this time of weather, you won't think the same ever again.
Now, on these walks, Clement would always just stop and take in everything around him. Now, every time he went on a walk, he'd always notice something just a little bit off. Like, for example, one time when he was crossing the street, he noticed that a stop sign was just a little bit bent, slightly out of normal, but it's okay. Clement just kept on walking, nothing to mind about. Now, every day it seemed, Clement would just get home a little bit later, about 5 or 10 minutes, and his parents always told him, Clement, don't stay out too long, and Clement, you have to be home before dinner, and Clement would try his best, but every day he just got a little more curious, because at the edge of his town, he knew the woods were waiting.
Clemen's walk started off very, very short, maybe just a couple houses to the left or the right, examining the neighbors' gardens. But as he became more and more drawn to the presence in the woods, he became more and more curious, and he walked farther and farther each walk. He would talk to this with his parents, but they became very tense on the subject and always told him to be home before dinner and to go in his room. Now, Clement didn't get many opportunities to take long walks like this. Maybe only when it was a very heavy storm and he felt the presence in the woods. He would usually spend the rest of his time in his room reading. One time on Clement's walk, he walked exceptionally far, but not too far for Clement, maybe a 10 or 20 minute walk around the neighborhood. When he came back, there was police cars, sirens, and his parents were crying on the doorstep. Clement, they yelled, Clement, come home. So Clement ran to them. He hugged them, but he didn't understand. He was only gone 20 minutes. His parents said that he has been gone for 5 hours. Clement didn't understand. He tried to tell his parents that he was barely gone, but they told him he was crazy and that he needed to get some rest. This made Clement very upset. One time, he snuck out. He snuck out because his parents had banned him walking, and he would always stay in his room every day. So he snuck out one time during a very heavy storm. He snuck out and he walked way past the neighborhood and into the woods for the first time. He knew his parents didn't want him to, but he knew he would find some answers.
After walking for 15-20 minutes, Clement finally got to the edge of the woods. Now, all of a sudden, Clement felt a sudden presence. Not as if there was another human or even an animal there, but just a feeling. So, Clement began his walk into the woods, passing all the trees, and now Clement had begun to jog a little bit. He doesn't know why, but he just feels like he needs to. So, after passing tree by tree, Clement noticed a slight glow way off in the distance. And as he comes up on a bit of a hill, he sees just a door in a doorframe quite a bit off in the distance, maybe a mile or so. Now, Clemen, being such a curious child, knew that he had to get to that door. He didn't know why, but he just really needed to. So, Clemen, at a decently fast pace now, was running through the woods, yearning to get to the door. And finally, it was within 100 feet from him. And Clemen knew this was his chance. He didn't know why, but he could get out that door. And as he started walking towards it, he noticed, as he looked down at his shoes, that he started getting stuck in the ground, almost as if Mother Earth itself was pulling him back. Now, Clemen knew this was his time. He had to fight to get to that door. Clemen started using all his strength, pushing through the dirt. His shoes got ripped off of his feet, and now, as he approached 10 feet, 8 feet, 5 feet from the door, all of a sudden, Clemen got yanked back onto the ground.
And wakes up. His eyes dart open. He takes a look around the room that he's in, and then he realizes that it's his room. He knows this because it has his astronaut posters around the wall and his rock collection on his desk. There was one light in the room, the light bulb to the right that's in the lamp. It looks quite bright when you look at it, but the room is actually very, very dark. He opens the door and walks through the hallway, not knowing what he should do. Should he bring a weapon? Can he trust his parents? They're eating Chinese takeout on the dining room table. He starts to ask them everything and bombards them with questions. They don't answer most of them. He looks at them. It's gonna be alright, Clemen. Everything's gonna be fine. They smile, an uneasy smile. Clemen doesn't feel like they're real. At this moment, he knows that he needs to go back into the woods. He needs to. So, he gets up and runs out the window. He runs across his yard and jumps over the fence. He can hear his parents' screams. Clemen, you forgot your dinner. It's getting cold. Clemen is terrified. How can he hear that from all the way out here? He takes a run past the streets and forgets the street names. The houses don't look familiar to him anymore. It's pitch black right now. By the time he reaches the end of the road, that road, the one with the tiny blue house, he sees the woods. The first tree is very tall, but very skinny. He brushes past it. He can hear his parents. Where did Clemen go? Where did Clemen go? His food's getting cold, cold, cold. He tries to knock the voices out of his head as he runs across the soil. He can feel the presence miles ahead of him, but he knows he has to keep going. Clemen keeps running. He runs harder than he ever was. He looks back. Feels like he's been running forever, but he's only reached about a couple 100 meters. He keeps running and running and running. The whole woods are silent. Clemen has never been more terrified in his life. He remembers his friends. What are their names? He can't remember them. He can't remember anyone but his parents right now. Clemen finally, after hours of walking, reaches the door. What does it mean? What is it? Clemen hears a beep in his ears, very, very loud. And it is very far apart. He hears one, then 30 seconds later, the sharp pain in his ear again. Then 31 seconds. Clemen must make a decision. He must go through that door. He starts running toward it, but again, his shoes are ripped off from his feet. He's drowning in the mud. He can't seem to go any farther. The door is just ahead, but he can't get out. He looks back, and he sees his parents. He sees his friends. He sees everyone. But they don't seem real. They're pulling him back. He doesn't want to be here. But then he thinks, What if this is a mistake? I have friends. I have a family who loves me. But Clemen makes one final decision, with all his might, with everything he's worth. He bolts through the door and grabs the door handle and opens it. Clemen awakes in a different room. He sees a nice, mellow lady sitting in the chair. She's sighing. She looks to Clemen. Her eyes bolt open. Her mouth gasps. Other people in the room look to him. They don't believe their eyes. Phones start ringing everywhere. People come and crowd Clemen. What is going on? He doesn't get it. Then, a new lady. What's her name? Jenna? Oh, that's right. And then Tom, his brother. And, oh, of course, Randy, his dog. It's all coming back to Clemen. That time where he fell off the treehouse he was making with his brother William. And fell, and he hit his head. That was years ago now, but Clemen has finally woken up. And he is back.